Yeah, we've talked about a lot of authentic leadership today. It keeps coming in on almost everybody's delivery. And for my speech today, I'm going to focus on the 3P framework that I've created. Of course, in leadership in corporate environment, there are a lot of 3Ps, but my own 3Ps, which I'm also sure that you guys will be conversant with. So what does it mean to lead authentically? Can somebody say something?
To lead with integrity.
Good.
True to your values.
Yeah, authentic leadership actually is when there is an alignment between your values, your beliefs, and the actions and behaviors that you portray in your leadership. How you present yourself, how you do things, do they align with your values? Do they align with your inner core belief system? Did I press something? So, you have your internal values and the external actions. Do they align? That alignment is what authentic leadership is. Oftentimes I hear people, when people say, oh, I'm authentic leader, they think you bring your shabbiness, you bring everything to the table. That's not authentic leadership. Authentic leadership means taking self-accountability, being aware of yourself, self-awareness, and having deep understanding of who you are, where you're going to, what you want to be, and what you want to bring. What do you want to change? What do you want to keep? What do you want, how do you interact with the society, yourself, and everything around you? So do you have that? Are you genuine with yourself? Are you genuine with other people? Are you self-aware in your decisions and in your actions? Are they guided by your internalized morals, moral perspective? How do you see the world? Do you bring that to your leadership? So that is what authentic leadership is. It's not about, oh, I'm bringing my whole self to the table. That's not authentic leadership. That is lack of accountability. So when you lead authentically, you actually have to really, really know who you are. So that's the basis of authentic leadership. Why is it essential for women to lead authentically? The society is littered with a lot of things for women to grasp with, and oftentimes women don't understand where they stand. Let me keep this distracting me. So, oftentimes women don't understand or are not able to align all those things that are happening. You have to be, there's this, how to be a woman, stereotypes of being a woman, and the stereotype of being an effective leader. So all the things that make an effective leader, is something that is also against how a woman is perceived to be. For example, being assertive, being decisive, being, wanting more, being ambitious. They are unladylike from the societal perspective. So that creates what they call the double bind. I'm sure you know what the double bind is. Do we all know what that is? So the double bind is when the gender stereotype, that is how a woman should be, or what a woman should be, or how a woman should act, collides with how the masculine stereotype of leadership models that we already have in the society. When they collide, it creates a kind of confusion for women. Now, a woman doesn't know whether to act feminine in your role, because when you do that, you'll be seen as ineffective leader. You'll be seen as emotional. Then when you act as the stereotypical male leadership, bring that masculine leadership to the table, you are seen as aggressive, you are seen as rude, or everything negative comes with it. So that's the double bind women have to deal with. And we, as women and our allies must always be, aware of this double bind when we are judging ourselves and our leadership. So when you're leading or when you're questioning yourself, you need to come back to here and say, which of these stereotypes is, controlling my thinking, controlling my judgment, controlling my, understanding of this person and that person's approach. Is she really rude? Is she really aggressive? Is she really, all of those negative? Instead of, is she bossy? That's what they say, women are bossy, instead of is an effective leader. Or they say she's strict or rude or use any negative word. Now, we have the social grooming that has created the ambition gap. The prescriptive, the descriptive decision, descriptive way that a woman is supposed to be, how women are. Like, a woman should be nurturing. We are described to be nurturers. And then, also, how women should be. We are expected to be submissive. Then, when it comes to the leadership environment, in organizations, in places, women tend to go back. Women scale back, women put themselves back because of this social grooming, which most, even women and men, have internalized, which created that double bind we talked about. So when already the society has created a way that you should be, a majority of us internalize that. And then we don't want to follow our ambitions, we don't want to follow our visions, and then it creates this, ambition gap. And when this is created, what happens? You see a lot of women, they seem to be confused. They seem to not have direction. They seem to not know what to do with themselves. They seem to have to...
TV will be turned up in 5 minutes.
So they tend to, So women tend to kind of be confused, not have direction, have to like wait and follow whatever direction anybody else brings for them, whether it's the family, your dad, your mom, anybody else waiting for most women are waiting for a husband to come and rescue them. They don't have plans for themselves. So they have to wait to be married to become something. So these are some of the things that ambition gap, that this social grooming is causing for women. And oftentimes you find that some other women also, fill up this void with physical appearances, makeup, clothes, things to feel like somebody, because there's no ambition. You don't know what to chase, you don't know what to pursue with your life. Therefore, you become the canvas and you keep dressing yourself with hair, whatever trend that comes in. You jump into it. That is what social grooming has been doing to women and leadership. Now, but how can we, deal with this social grooming, this, double bind and everything that is happening to women? And mind you, this grooming starts from as soon as a woman is born. Even your mom, your dad, people around you start grooming you to be a certain way. And then at the time, your whole life, you've been taking other people's decisions, you've been doing other people's visions and all that. But for you to deal with this, you must learn to lead yourself. Self-leadership, which is centered on building your own moral perspective, building your own balanced viewpoint, and relational transparency, and then being self-aware. All of this, what it means is you have to step away from how you've been groomed, to ask yourself, reflect on yourself, and ask yourself, when nobody's listening, when nobody's hearing you, speak to yourself and ask, what is my core value? What is my core relevance? What do I want to achieve? I had that moment when I was, I think, around about 12, 13 years. I was growing up in the village. I'm the first daughter. I don't know anybody from Nigeria, or maybe your own culture, I don't know. If you're a first daughter, you become a mom very quickly. I was the mom of the family. And all my life has to be lived for my siblings, for everybody else except me. So at the age of 5, I thought I should be going to school. I wasn't enrolled to school. One day, we used to use slate, the board, something like this. Something like this, that's what we used to go to school. And chalk. So one morning, I was babysitting my youngest sister, in the morning, because my mom is a teacher. She has gone back to school, to uni, and we are living with my grandparents. So nobody was looking at my own education. My brother, everybody's gone to school. So one morning I just went and carried this, took chalk and went to school and registered myself. That's when I was 5 years. So that was the first rebellion I have ever. And from that time, nobody could stop me. Anything I want to do, I don't care what people are talking about. I'll focus and do that. So that was when I started questioning some of the things I was seeing around me. Why can't I play football? I was very sporty. I was very outspoken, but every time I'm told to go back, let the other people talk, let the boys talk, let the men talk. When they are talking, what I'm hearing is so mediocre. I have better idea, but you're a woman. So I've been fighting that, and I feel a lot of women are stuck in that. They can't speak for themselves, they can't stand for themselves, and they can't develop or even understand who they are. So to authentically lead effectively, you must lead yourself first by being self-aware. Know your strength. Know your strength and capitalize on that strength. Let no one take it from you. Step away from how the society has groomed you and understand your own self and start from there. And also understand your own strengths and weaknesses. Your weaknesses also, you need to understand them. Know when to stop. Know when to step away. Know when another person, you can nudge another person to come forward. These are very important for you to be an effective leader. Yeah, I've said that before, to separate your goals from what you have internalized from social expectations. Now, how do you do this, is the question. How are you able to move yourself from that societal, grooming and all that? And I would like somebody to, before we get there, what I wanted to do, let's talk about understand what these are. The 3 P's are purpose, priority, and plan. Now, you find that when you don't have a vision, when you don't have a plan, when you don't have anything for yourself, you are going to be doing people's plans, people's priorities and all that. So you need to have a purpose. And what does purpose mean? Now, for me, there are different levels. There's ultimate purpose, and then there is different levels of purpose. But the main purpose is the ultimate one. So at every point in time, you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is this I'm doing? Why am I doing it? And your priorities, what? What are the things you're going to do every day, every minute of your life to be able to achieve your why? And if you're not able to define this why effectively, your what and your how are going to be wrong. So you have to be able to connect your high-level strategic vision to your daily execution. And that is, when you know you have a purpose. Now, I want somebody to help me out here. I'm going to ask a question so that we can actualize this, because there's a 5-step, 5-step why framework that we need to go through to be able to, like every single time you are doing something, you should be able to step back 5 times on the why. Ask yourself why. Why? On the 5th point, that's your answer should align with your ultimate purpose. That's what it means. So I'm going to ask, why are you here today? Can somebody volunteer? Let's go do the 5 steps. Who is going to? Okay.
Knowledge sharing.
Okay. Why is it?
And networking.
Why is it important for you to share your knowledge and network with other professionals? Well, so your first answer, that's your initial why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why I'm doing it is because if I don't share my knowledge, I don't grow.
Why is it important for you to grow?
Well, it's important for me to understand things from other people's perspective and gain and upskill in the process.
That's your strategic why. So now, why is it also important for you to learn from other people's perspective and grow? Why is that growth important to you?
I suppose my leadership journey has not been an easy one, and as a black woman, it's not been forthcoming. So I chatty-patty, as my daughter calls it. So I like speaking to people, I like gaining knowledge, and that helps me to understand things from other people's perspectives, but it also broadens my horizon as to what other people are doing in different arenas.
Okay, so why is it important for you to understand what other people are doing in other arenas, and why is it also important for you to have, that knowledge?
It's wholesome for me. It's the holistic approach, and it informs me and guides where I'm going in my business as well, and how I can actually synergize what I'm doing with other people.
Okay, so I'm going to go another step. Now, your business, why is your business important to you?
Because
I want us to get to this ultimate
why. Because it's, when you unpick and unpack everything, it's the foundation stone from where I've grown from. It's the integrity, it's the presence, the power, the purpose.
There we go. Did you hear what she said? The presence, the integrity, the power, and the purpose. Now, why she came here today is not to network. That is how.
Yeah.
Or what?
What?
Okay.
That's what you're doing to get to your why.
Mm.
So your ultimate why is to gain influence, to have power, to have integrity, to build presence. Do you understand? So when you step back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you should be able to try to, align your action every single time. Whether it's your long-term why or your short-term why. But try to always move 5 steps back and see whether what you're doing is aligning with what you want to achieve. So that's it. So we have the initial why. Always question your initial why. And question again, and question again, and question again.
Until you get to
5
the
times.
one.
Yes. So you have to reclaim your purpose. Because if you don't reclaim your purpose, you end up doing other people's purpose. So you have to define and reclaim your own purpose, setting clear priorities and creating plans that are truly your own. Plans that are truly your own. Now, I was telling you, isn't it, Lola, I studied nursing up to BSc. It wasn't it was never in my plans. But I wasted how many years? Almost 16 years of my life in a profession I don't have passion for, I don't have interest, I don't have, I just had to pass exams. I just had to work. I worked in ICU for 6 years. Yeah, it was good to save lives. It gives, like when you save life, but that was never the journey I wanted for myself. But my parents said, you have to be there. I had to be there. But then, thankfully, when I met this man, I told him, look, I'm not a nurse. I studied nursing. I'm finding my way out. Now, I'm following my passion. I'm following things I want to do. I'm now in marketing. Working in top marketing, corporate environments here. Working on projects. Designing strategies for organizations and leading campaigns. That is what I want to do. That's what fulfills me. So oftentimes we women, or young girls, parents will say they don't want us to take risk. They don't want you to try your vision. People are not going to believe in you as a woman and as a girl. They tell you to be a teacher, safe, just be a teacher so that when you marry, be a nurse when you marry. Everything comes back to when you marry. So that means you're living the purpose or plans of your parents, waiting for you to marry, so you start living the purpose and plans of your husband. So that is the life cycle of a woman, if you are not careful. You end up, after living the lives for your parents, you start living the life of your husband and, again, maybe your children. So it's very important. There's a paper there's something in your files. If you can open them, let's look at that purpose. So you can be looking at it gradually. So I want you to look at that. Everybody has it, is it?
Which one?
Is this one? Yeah, that one. This one.
Okay.
Oh, you have it, okay. So as you're looking at it, I want you to kind of, you don't have to fill it up completely now. It's for you to reflect on what we're saying and see how, your life has been aligned with yourself. Actually, if you fill it up, you can take it home and really, use it to scale yourself and use it to reflect on your journey as a person and as a woman. Have you been living your life as a person or as a woman? I always tell people, for you to reclaim your purpose, you must live your life as a person, not as a woman. Because if you live as a woman, then you're going to be living on the prescription that the society has given for a woman. But there's no prescription for a person. A person is a human being, a full-grown human being. So as a human being, how are you living your life? This framework, this purpose, these priorities, these plans, are you doing them? Are you following them from your own understanding, not from how the society has, framed it? You see, myself, my slide is stopped. It's not going any further.
Maybe because the TV said 5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, she pressed
I
that.
pressed some press, yeah. Yeah, but we keep moving though.
See
So-
if you can go back.
Go see it.
So you still have.
There you
Go
go.
for
Now
it.
you can go. You should go. Okay.
Probably I didn't finish my slide. When you're doing other people's slides, you didn't finish your own. Okay, so we go to priorities. How do you set your priority? What are the things that guide you in setting your own, choices? Are they strategic? The choices that you make, are they strategic? Do they align? Do you know when to say no?
Yeah.
Even at work, have you learned how to say no? Have you learned how to say no without feeling guilty, without having to explain yourself?
There's different ways of saying no.
No, yeah. And if you watch in our relationship with men, mostly people from Nigeria and Africa, men will always tell you when a woman says no, she's not actually saying no. That is why consent in the African circle or whatever is really not a thing, because when you say no to a man, he presses on. That's the belief. Because we as women, we've been groomed to not understand to say no and mean no without attaching any other sentiments or feelings or explanations to that. So are you, prioritizing your time, your resources, how do you prioritize your stuff? Anything that you're doing, what guides your choices that you make? Then the plans is how, your how and your where and when. When you do something, how you do something and where you do something is also very important. When you're choosing, when you have made a strategic choice to do something, when do you do it as well? Timing is very important. Timing. If you want to be an effective leader, even if you know how to communicate, you can talk, you can do all of that. What of the timing? Do you do it at the right time? Do you send that message at the right time? Do you respond at the right time? Do you respond at the right place? Where is the response coming to? These are things you need to use in checking yourself, having that self-evaluation. Evaluate yourself based on your own metrics, on these metrics to strengthen your strength and also strengthen your weaknesses. You try to grow out of those habits that keep you down, those grooming, those, when you want to say something, the woman has to say it in a way. That way, does it get you the results you are looking for? At there times you need to be more assertive. At there times you need to be more blunt. At there times you need to, what does it mean to be ladylike in the first place? That's the question. Who defines what a lady is and should be? These are things we need to question and deal with. So you have the 3P self-assessment form with you. So you can look at it now as we're talking and see how far you can go. How much are you getting on any of those on the scale? So if you're getting up to, 30, 40, then you're on the good side. But if you're still at 20, 25, then you really, really need to work hard on yourself, on your decisions, on your acceptance of things being thrown at you, whether at work, whether at home, whether at anywhere. Are you able to say no? So I'm kind of moving it very quickly because most of the things have already been said already. So I'm trying to strengthen our grasp of it and for us to internalize it more and understand where this is coming from. Because this lady, Cheryl, somebody, the person that wrote the Lean In.
Cheryl Sanders.
Yeah. She argued very strongly on this and said, let me get what she said exactly. She said women often hold themselves back from seeking leadership roles. But I want to challenge that because women are always leading, but we don't know that we are leading because of the social grooming. Because we don't know or we are expected to lead in a certain way. But when you understand your position, your leadership, from home you're already a leader. Whether as a mom, whether as a wife, whether as whatever, whether as a professional, whether as a business owner, you're already leading. You don't have to occupy a specific position. You don't have to have any specific title to be a leader. So now that is why it's very, very important. I emphasize on self-leadership. So when you have internalized and being able to soak yourself into yourself as a leader and lead yourself effectively, then you can start seeing yourself as a leader. And when you're in the position of leadership or when you're leading, you will understand that at this point I'm leading. And you position yourself all the time. So my final thought on this would be For us as women to develop strong leadership skills, it begins from defining and reclaiming our own purpose and setting clear priorities and creating plans that are truly our own. Are your plans your own? Are your priorities your own? Do you know your purpose? Thank you.